With everything that's gone down in 2020, this could well be the year when splitboarding takes off. And having a quality and reliable set of splitboard bindings underneath your feet is one of the most important bits of kit to get right, which is exactly what I have in front of me here. This is the 2020-2021 Spark R&D soft boot splitboard binding range. And in this video, we're going to take a closer look at the full line. For those who don't know, Spark R&D are a rider-owned and operated splitboard manufacturer based out of Montana. They've been industry leaders pretty much since day one, since they began in 2006, and they continue to push splitboard binding innovation with their incredibly efficient and effective in-house designs. So what I have in front of me here is the Arc, the Surge, the Arc Pro and the Surge Pro. Now these are available in both men's and women's sizes with a whole variety of colour ranges as well. Spark also produced some pin mount and hard boot binding options, but for the vast majority of splitboarders out there, you'll probably find what you're looking for among these four options. Alright, so first let's take a look at some of the features that you'll find across all four of these bindings. And probably the most noteworthy one is Spark's T1 system. So if you have a look at the toe ramp here, you'll see that it clicks up and down like so. This is what you're going to use to lock into the touring brackets and also into the pucks when it comes to the descent. The pins slide into the offset brackets and then the snap ramp simply clicks down and locks you in, and that is you ready for touring. When it comes to riding, the same again. You slide the base plate over the pucks, lock that in and off you go. It really is that simple. Inevitably, there will be some skeptics out there who claim that this is working in a controlled indoor environment, but it's a different story once you get out into the mountains. Well, we used Spark bindings last December in some pretty miserable early season conditions, and you can see from the footage here that it definitely works just as well in the mountains. You've also got this integrated climbing wire which alternates from 0 degrees to 12 degrees and then up to 18 degrees depending on how steep the slope is that you're ascending. These can also be really easily adjusted with your touring pole with this whammy bar that sticks out the side here. Lastly, you got the rip and flip high backs, and these have got a couple really handy features, especially if you're out touring in the backcountry. First of all, you can adjust the forward lean between 0 and 22 degrees simply by twisting this dial. And once you're in touring mode, you can also remove this altogether and tuck it away in the high back, and that pulls right back to give you an additional 13 degrees of negative flex, which is going to be really useful for longer strides and increased mobility when you're skinning. Anyway, let's start to get into some of the specifics for each of these bindings. First up then, let's take a look at both the Arc and the Surge binding. So the Arc is the altogether lighter, softer and more surfy feeling of the two. A single binding in a size medium weighs only 1.38 pounds or 626 grams, which is incredibly light. That's really down to the machined aluminium base plate, where a lot of the material has been strategically cut out. Another little advantage to this I've found is that when using the Arcs, they don't tend to conduct the cold temperatures quite as much as the Surge. That's maybe down to the reduced metal in contact with the boot, but in either case you can get those sticky backed cushioned footbeds to put down on the base plate, and that'll help to keep your feet warmer when you're out on the skin track. Secondly, and you shouldn't need to, but if you do find yourself out in the backcountry needing to make slight adjustments to your stance width or angles, it's actually quite easy to access the screws and the pucks with the Arcs, and you can make those adjustments without having to remove the binding altogether. The pillow line straps are made from injection molded plastic, and that not only keeps them waterproof but incredibly durable and also really comfortable. You've got these pillows here on the inside of the strap, which helps to keep things nice and comfortable in contact with your boot. But on the outside, you've also got these lines which provide all the structure and support that you need from the heel strap. The Arc also has this little cutout here, and that's what helps to give you that softer, more surfy feel with increased lateral flex between the turns. It's a great all-rounder and probably better suited to slightly lighter riders or those who aren't charging big mountain lines at Mach 10, but really just wanting something that can handle a bit of everything. It comes in at $385, making it the most affordable in the line here. So moving on to the Surge. Now this is an altogether more powerful binding, better suited to bigger riders or those who are taking on bigger lines in the backcountry. The base plate is made from a single piece of aluminium and it doesn't have any of the cutouts that we found in the Arc. Now, admittedly, this does bump the weight up just a touch, so a medium-sized single binding will come in at 1.5 pounds or 680 grams. That's hardly a huge increase though, and it's certainly not going to feel cumbersome when you're out on the trail. It does, however, give you a much more sturdy and solid platform to ride from. The high back in the Surge will feel pretty similar to the Arc in terms of its edge-to-edge response, but torsionally it is definitely a little bit stiffer, and that just matches the overall style of this more powerful binding. For me though, the change you'll feel the most is in the pillow line straps. These are bigger than on the Arc with an asymmetric shape and without that cutout in the middle. As a result, you get a much more responsive feel with these as they contour a wider area of the boot and provide increased lateral support and power between your turns. The price therefore jumps up just a nudge, and a pair of the Surge bindings are going to set you back $415 or your equivalent currency. I've spent quite a few seasons riding in both the Surge and the Arc, and I can definitely vouch for the performance of both of them on both the ups and the downs. For me, however, the slight increase in weight isn't that noticeable on the Surge, but the increase in power and response definitely is. If you're someone who tends to ride with a little bit more attack and wants some more response between your turns, then these might be the better option. And now moving on to the Pro Series. So once again, we have both Arc and Surge models available in both men's and women's sizes, but these have definitely got a few upgrades to their spec as well as a serious drop in their weight. These are the lightest and highest performing splitboard bindings on the market. So if you're racking up some pretty big vertical meters over the course of a season, they're definitely worth giving some attention to. The heel loops are made from 70-75 aluminium, allowing them to be made lighter and thinner while still retaining their overall strength. The high backs have also been upgraded, opting for a carbon reinforced nylon construction, which not only makes them lighter and stronger, but more responsive as well. The pillow line straps look quite similar and have the same shape as their regular counterparts, but they use Pebax plastic, which is a material often found in the shells of ski boots. They're not only 20% lighter than regular plastic, they're also extremely resistant to going brittle or losing their toughness in extreme cold temps. Now, this next bit is definitely going to appeal to some of the splitboard nerds out there. Spark have shaved those final few grams by replacing the stainless steel hardware with custom aluminium components. They've even integrated these hollow stainless steel pivot pins in the snap ramp, so pretty impressive stuff. Okay, so what about the all-important numbers? Well, a set of single medium-sized Arc Pro bindings weighs in at 1.23 pounds or 557 grams, while the Surge Pro comes in at 1.33 pounds or 603 grams, costing $540 and $570 respectively. Nope, not the cheapest, although I suspect the kind of person who's looking to buy a set of either of these bindings will very, very quickly appreciate the value of what's on offer here. So that is your roundup of the bindings. Now, personally for me, the Surge is probably my favorite, and it was also this year's Whitelines 100 winner, but hopefully you'll see from this video that there really is something for every style of rider and every style of riding out there. Of course, there's a whole load of other split-specific accessories you may be looking at buying, including a whole bunch that Spark actually make. These include the sticky baseplate padding kits I've already mentioned, as well as the pucks, which come in both a regular and a canted version, nose and tail clips, and for the first time this season, Spark are also making their own splitboard skins. If you want to check any of these out, then have a look at our article on the best splitboard and touring accessories for the year. I'll stick the link to that down in the description below. Alright, so there you have it. Hope that was useful. If you've got any comments or questions, then stick them down below in the comments and we'll be sure to get back to you. And as a final sign off, there's going to be a lot more people touring in the backcountry this season, so please do make sure that you're always carrying the correct safety equipment, you know how to use it, and you're always traveling with a group that have sufficient experience among them. That's it from us, so we'll see you out on the skin track.